A phenomenal archaeological find from back in 2005,
Great Scott.
considered by some to be the most important Christian discovery since the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, it's hitting the news again because it's being displayed outside of Israel for the first time since it was discovered in '05. It's at the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C. Now, why is it being described as so important and so significant? Well, there's a few reasons. First, because of how early it is. It's dated to around 230 AD, which may be the earliest Christian building on record. There's another one in Syria that's from around the same time, but this one is nearly a century before Constantine became emperor of Rome. And that matters for reasons that we'll talk about here in just a minute. Now, second, it gives insights into early Christians and early Christian worship. But first, what exactly are we talking about here? Because Israel is so rich in archaeological possibilities, anytime you want to build a building, you have to have an archaeologist come and make sure you're not building on top of one of the greatest archaeological finds since the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, a prison in Israel in the area called Megiddo, which is also called Armageddon, wanted to add a wing, and they called in an archaeologist. And the archaeologist found something nearly as important as the Dead Sea Scrolls. It was a 16 by 32 foot mosaic from the early 3rd century. And by the way, I've seen preserved Roman mosaics that are like 2,000 years old, and it's wild how good they look. Once they're cleaned up, they look like they were built yesterday, then go in your bathroom today. It's from a residence that would have doubled as a Christian gathering place, kind of a precursor to a church building. Now, back to the significance. It includes art. It has geometrical shapes included, images of fish, which were important early Christian symbols, likely pointing to like the feeding of the 5,000 and the apostles as fishermen, that kind of thing. And then it also names several female donors, and that gives new insight into the importance of women in the early church, maybe that we didn't understand before. Most importantly of all, it includes an inscription which, translated from the Greek, reads, "The God-loving Akeptus has offered the table to God, Jesus Christ, as a memorial." Now, this is revolutionary because it provides archaeological evidence that early Christians believed Jesus was God in the flesh. Now, this matters because it's always been fashionable in some Christian circles and in skeptic circles to deny that fact and believing that all the Jesus's divine talk didn't come along officially until Constantine and the Council of Nicaea in the 4th century. Now, this deals that idea a major blow. Honestly, I don't think the doctrine of Jesus' divinity needed that kind of extra help, but it's great to have it. For instance, if you read the Christ hymn in Colossians 1:15 through 20 as a starting place, if you struggle with this whole idea of Jesus being God, you should get over it by just reading that. But it's really fun to have the backing of archaeology and history, and it should deal Christians a nice boost of confidence, and non-Christian at least some food for thought. That's what's so critical about biblical faith. It fundamentally claims to have taken place in history with real people in real places. And for that reason, we want the archaeological digs to happen. We believe the more you dig, the more artifacts you'll find because this stuff is real. And archaeology is showing that to be true, and it continues to do that. Remember that if you ever need a boost of confidence in your faith. Now, if you want to explore further why it matters so much that this stuff is real and it took place in history and all those kinds of things, here's a good place to start. Hope that helps. See you next time.